Landing, your stick's balancing just barely on there.
We'll just have to go wash in. We're gonna go wash in the creek. So.
I don't know if the creek would wash these out.
Huh? Wash their hands. Well, that's the best part right there, Allison.
She's got some in her hair.
Really?
There's something in your hair. Oh no, it's not. It's just ash. Oozing. That's the best.
Why are you watching me eat?
You got it?
I know I have some more on my chin, but I can't lick it off.
It must mean it's good.
Yeah.
Dad, this is for you because I know you're gonna watch this.
He might
Yeah,
not.
Mom.
It's on my Jeep channel.
Oh, I'll tell Dad to watch your YouTube channel.
Hey, good morning. Well, we were a little tight quartered last night. Little Miss Allison got scared. Just did not want to sleep in the tent with the boys, and no matter how much joking we did or putting lights on or anything else, she was in a panic. She was not gonna sleep in a tent outside without Grandma and Grandpa. So finally decided, okay, I want to sleep with Grandma and Grandpa. She nodded her head yes, and so I said, okay, well, Grandma, we're gonna have to find a place for her. Now that rooftop tent is basically the width of a queen bed and a little bit longer, maybe the length of a king or something. And there's really not room for a big old grandpa like me and a grandma. She's small, but I'm not. The two of us fit on a queen size bed okay. We've got about an Allison size space between us when we're in bed. Well, Allison slept on the outside, on the other side of Grandma. And Grandma and I basically couldn't move much through the night. So we didn't sleep great, but it was okay. We made it through the night. Allison's still asleep. Youth. But we made it. Now, I wanted to tell you that the Smittybuilt fridge is still at 12.6 and charging off the Jackery. The Jackery was at 68%. I've got the solar panels out. There's not really enough sunlight yet to start drawing. Up at the cabin, I usually do draw in this kind of light, but I guess 100 watt panel is just not, it's just not drawing much at all. Not even a watt yet. It's showing voltage, but it's not drawing anything yet. So as soon as I start generating a little power from the solar panel, we'll start powering back up that Jackery. But knowing now that it, you know, it's only at 68% overnight, I think as long as we get some sunlight today, we should be good all the way through till tomorrow. So I'm pretty happy with that. I do see the Smittybuilt fridge, even though it was set at 10 degrees Fahrenheit, the freezer side was at 18, and with 36 degrees on the fridge side, it was at 39. Now it does cycle up and down, so it's not uncommon to see, you know, fridges do that, right? They hit that ceiling and then boom, they come on and drive the temperature back down again. So we'll see how it does driving it down this time. I also noticed that a few things had been kind of stuck where the fan vent is on the fridge and hadn't noticed that. So it may have been struggling to exhaust some of that heat. So I removed those and cleared some space around it. So that should help. Got coffee going, so I'm gonna go drink my coffee and sit around the campfire, trying to get a good fire going so we can cook on it this morning. Smile. Well, we're still at 12.6 volts, 39 on the fridge and 5 on the freezer. I could turn it down a little bit on the fridge. We're currently running off the Goneo. It's not actually drawing any power. We're at 79%. That's from my use overnight on my CPAP. And I can see that this is just sitting in eco mode, meaning it's not trying to do anything right now if it doesn't have to. And then the Jackery, 52%. Right now the panels are only pulling 3 watts. The panels pulled as many as 45, 50 watts today, but you know, when you've got clouds up there and the sun's kind of being shaded by the clouds over and over, you just don't get full power. So we're seeing what we can get. We're just pulling 3 watts right now, but now, since this is now no longer attached to the refrigerator because I have the Goneo here on, we can move it. So if we get too much shade here, but we get some sun over there, we can move it. So far so good. I actually expected the Jackery to be at 0 by 3 in the morning, and it really wasn't. It held to, it was 60 some odd percent overnight, but it's now 10:30, so it's still at 52. So I want to try to get it powered up as much as I can. We'll draw the Goneo down as needed and see where we go from there. All right, in an attempt to charge up that Jackery, the sun keeps dipping behind the clouds, or the clouds keep obscuring the sun, and it's slowly charging. That is a problem with solar, folks. What I do find interesting is that the Goneo doesn't seem to be performing as well as the Jackery. Now it is showing it's drawing between 18 and 26 watts, and occasionally it drops to 0. I find that very strange. And when I'm looking at the Smittybilt refrigerator, it's sitting at 12.1 volts. Now it did drop to 12.0, but on the Jackery it stayed at 12.6. And it seems as if the DC power here doesn't really put out that much, and doesn't seem to hold well. And I've tried pushing this in and keeping it in there nice and tight, but as I pushed it in there, the power goes up. So it's sitting at 33 right now, it drops to 0. Look at that, back to 0. So it's almost as if the DC power outlet here isn't really very good, and it's at 28, 27. It jumps around a lot. That's not good. We're at 32 and back to 24. So it would seem to me, now we're at 18, that this guy, which is now at 12.0, isn't charging very well off of this one. And it doesn't seem to be performing as well as the Jackery. So that's not going to work. So the Goneo definitely doesn't seem to perform as well as the Jackery in terms of providing power. The Jackery appears to provide a steadier amount of power. Now right now it's only pulling 4 watts. If you look at those solar panels here, you know, they're just not getting a lot of sun. I mean, I can kind of show you what we look like here. It's pretty cloudy. Jackery's at 53%. The Goneo was at 79 this morning. I think I just saw it at 76. Double check. 78. So it's at 78. It's just barely running. Now we are back up to 12.1. So it's kind of right in that zone. But we're also running 40 degrees and 9. 9's okay. 40, it should be running colder than that. So it's like it's trying to conserve that battery. It really shouldn't be doing that. I'd like to get that Jackery up, maybe up around 70%, 75% if I can. So we'll see. If I can get it up there and only drop the Goneo down to 50, we'll be good overnight. And I think we would have been fine anyway, but this way I was able to move the Jackery into where I'm getting more sun. It's just not any now. It's only 20 after 11, so. All right, we'll be back in a jiff. What is all that black? Just that piece of wood did that? Or something else in there? Mm-hmm. Just that wood did that, huh? Weird. Mm-hmm. The wood, it's like burning black smoke. Oh, you didn't step in Logan's puke, huh? What? Logan puked last night. In his blanket. Morning. I love being out here. My back doesn't always agree, but it's gorgeous out here. Beautiful. Toucan and State Campground, I believe this is. You know, it's funny, you look them up, it's a Forest Service campground, but it also, I think, says state or something on it. So it's kind of a joint venture, maybe, I don't know. Gorgeous morning. It's just after 7 a.m. and the grandkids are starting to move. Just one left. She's sleeping up there. She did not want to sleep with her brothers in a ground tent. But she definitely wanted to sleep with Grandma and Grandpa in their tent. But that tent's really not big enough. It's barely big enough for the two of us. So having an 8-year-old granddaughter with us was a little bit tight. Meant you couldn't move around at all throughout the night. It makes sleeping kind of tough. Well, the Jackery, we got it up to about 70% with the solar panels yesterday. It was really tough with the clouds moving in and out all the time. And but we managed to get it up from 52% to about 70. Put it on the fridge probably around 5 p.m. or so. And then had the Goneo on the Jackery solar panels. The only problem was I don't have an adapter from the 8mm plug on the Jackery to the DC, whatever it is, 5.5 I think, on the Goneo, and I've still got to get some. I believe I ordered some on Amazon. They just haven't come in yet. But I did have a 100-watt USB cable, and so I plugged that into the solar panels because they've got a USB connection on the back, but it's limited to 10 watts. Now there may be a second one there I need to look at to see if maybe there's another one that's maybe more. But the 10 watts, of course, wasn't doing much to power up a 600 watt-hour battery. It would take it a long time. So I think I got it up to 50% or 52 or something. It had dropped down to about 48. And so I used that one for my CPAP overnight. And by the time I pulled it out this morning, it was about 20%. And which it uses between 20 and 30% overnight. Probably if I'd have turned the heater off on the CPAP, it wouldn't have done that, and I probably didn't need it. In any case, the Jackery was at 0 when I got up this morning at shortly after 5 a.m. But it hadn't been there for long, I don't think, because the refrigerator was at 11.8 volts. So, you know, it couldn't have been there long. And the refrigerator was maybe at 12.1 when we went to bed. 12.1, 12, yeah, about 12.1 or 12.2. So it hadn't dropped very much. So I'm not sure when the Jackery died, but it did. But so far, with these two power units, we're definitely doing just fine. Had I had the Jackery 1500, it would easily have handled the weekend. However, the problem is that it's one unit, so I'd have to have like a long extension cord to go up into the tent. I think that would work, and you'd only have to carry one. But so far, we actually do pretty good. So if you're doing overlanding where you're traveling all the time, you're not going to need it. But doing it like this works too. You know, obviously without a lot of sun, hard to use the solar panel to charge anything up. But we're getting a little sun this morning, as you can see. Gorgeous morning. Gorgeous morning. But time for me to go cook some breakfast, and we got to get packed up and get on the road. Family with Jeeps together stays together. All right, well, we got a sick kid. It's the end of the weekend. It's time to roll, so y'all have a great day. The old Jarhead out.